What's popping out? The Lil Pump experiment has officially ended and it looks like it's a failing grade. Stick around until the end because if you're an upcoming artist, there's a lot to learn from this case study. The first week sales for Harverd Dropout were 45,875 equivalent units, but 21,966 pure sales, or coming from people who just bought the album, and that shocked me at first. The pure sales, of course. The album equivalent units is a massive flop. This is the same sales he had for his self-titled mixtape, as they wanted to call it, and that released before Gucci Gang blew up. It confused me because Offset sold 88,000 plus streaming, but only had 6,600 album sales. And Gunna, who I was surprised beat Offset, sold 89,000 sales plus streaming with 8,800 album sales. So how the hell did Lil Pump basically sell half as much as Gunna and Offset overall, but did 3 times as much when it came to pure album sales? You would think that Gunna and Offset's fanbase would be more likely to straight up buy their album, and you'd be right. Besides, almost nobody right now gets half of their sales from just directly buying an album, except for probably the biggest rappers and other types of artists. So I did a little digging and found that Lil Pump had done a limited time only merchandise collab with clothing brand Young and Reckless for a t-shirt and hoodie. And guess what? Yes, each purchase comes with a free digital album of Harverd Dropout. This is why the pure album sales were inflated. And when it comes to my opinion, I don't think this is cheating or wrong, because if people are willing to buy a merchandise bundle, then sure, go ahead and count it as a sale. But I do wish we could see how many people just bought it regularly, because that's an important metric to have. If you like analysis videos on hip hop and rap that you're not going to find anywhere else, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Some people are already thinking, why do pure album sales matter? Nobody buys music anymore. Streaming is the only thing that matters. First off, you're wrong. Plenty of people still buy music. Just looking at the last week's sales that Lil Pump was on, the number one album was the Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper soundtrack for A Star Is Born. Sure, it had a boost again because of the Oscars, but in its first week, it sold 162,000 pure album sales and 231,000 when you include streaming. This was back when it first released. And 5 months later, it sells 75,600 pure sales and 124,000 overall, going number one again. So that means over 75,000 people went to iTunes or whatever other platform and bought the album directly. Same thing for Gary Clark Jr.'s album This Land, which sold 37,000 pure and 40,000 overall. When a fan is willing to pay for an album, when they can just stream it, that's a totally different fan than one who will just stream it. And it's a totally different type of artist that can get their fans to do that for them. It means their fan base is incredibly strong, and we see only a handful of rappers capable of doing this. With the success of Gucci Gang peaking at number 3 on the Hot 100 on December 2nd, 2017, and even a year later, I Love It with Kanye West peaking at number 6 on the Hot 100 on September 22nd, 2018, and the amount of money invested into huge music videos like Butterfly Doors, Drug Addicts, Racks on Racks, Boss, Esh Get It, and Arms Around You, this is one of the biggest flops I've ever witnessed, but I can't say I was surprised. I thought he would sell a minimum of 80K, and I was going to consider anything under 100K flopping, but damn, not even 50K? Everybody was hyping up Lil Pump as the hottest thing. A rapper that was never going to fall off anytime soon. He made the XXL freshman list. He has 17 million followers on Instagram. He was getting 1 million likes per post. I was really laughing at people using all of these things to try and justify that he was going to last as a music artist. None of these things have anything to do with the music. Lil Pump was a meme, a joke. And like every meme, it runs its course and eventually people get tired of it and move on to the next one. 6ix9ine was also a meme of sorts, but his music was much better than Lil Pump's and he outsold him. But this is a thing that upcoming rappers and even some slightly established rappers are obsessed with, and that's follower count and clout on Instagram and Twitter. Victims of this include Young Bands, who gets tens of thousands of retweets when he says something along the lines of F Russ or Academics to Police, but when he posts a snippet of his music, it's nothing but crickets. We've been witnessing a bubble of sorts that's going to burst any day now when it comes to rappers, and Lil Pump was one of the biggest, and that's social media rappers. If any of you remember when Lil Pump was first getting popular, it was on Twitter. A video of him at the Walmart acting like a total fool. Then he dropped a song, Take Your Girls to the Movies. People thought it was an absolute joke, but they shared it around, ironically. They never thought he was going to be an actual rapper or a music artist. But early on, social media agency The Lights Global saw that they could use his personality and grow his brand on social media, so they signed him. Now, what the hell is a social media agency? Well, let's take a look at The Lights Global website and find out. When you go to their roster of artists, the only person here who's had some sort of big success is Lil Pump, and it's a really small roster of people. You've probably seen that Diablo producer around, but he's not making any big placements. It says, TLG signs new and upcoming music talent, then we utilize our influencer and marketing businesses to perpetuate them in a new world of media consumption. To put it in English, they find people who got a small amount of clout online, and they get them a bunch more followers. They usually sign these people. I'm pretty sure they signed Lil Pump and then sold his contract or got a cut when he was signed to Warner. They can sign these artists because when they approach them, they don't know anything about the music industry or how to build a fan base, so they're happy to get any type of deal. Social media agencies usually get paid on a retainer though, which means that they get a monthly payment of however much to grow an individual or business's social media presence, and if that party isn't satisfied with the results, then they just cut them off. You can't really cut these guys off if they have paperwork where they basically own your career. So these guys did what they do best. They grew his social media following. Millions of Instagram followers, millions of Twitter followers, hundreds of millions of YouTube views. And then what they did was go to these record labels and tell them, look, we got this poppin' artist right now. Now we're willing to sell you his contract. He has this much of a following on here, here, and here. And he has way more followers than this artist that you have that's selling this much. So imagine how much you could make from this guy's following. And labels' ears perk up and say, damn, we need to get on this ASAP. And they buy the contract. And as we saw from Harvard Dropout, they're stuck with an artist with a bunch of clout and followers, but no real fans. The same thing was and still is happening in journalism. You ever look up a top 10 something on Google? Let's say that we looked up the Forbes list of hip-hop artists for 2018. You click on a link, and they don't just list them out on one page. Instead, they have a slideshow. And each slide that you click is a new page. So when these websites have to show their investors what's going on, or they need more funding, they say, hey look, we got 20 million readers this month. Readers is already BS because they consider anyone who clicked a reader. And it's also BS because they count you as one person going through the 20-page slideshow as 20 readers. It's a huge dishonest scam, if we're being real, and it's why you're seeing a lot of these online publications make huge cuts to their staff, if not shut down, because investors over time are looking like, yo, where the hell is this income stream? We've been investing millions, and it's like it's being set on fire. The record label basically got finessed, and they're likely going to learn from this mistake, if they have any sort of brain. They just saw followers but didn't question, why are these people following Lil Pump, and what demographic are they? Most people followed Lil Pump not for his music, but for his Instagram and Twitter videos where he's just acting like a degenerate teenager. They found this funny and they would just listen to his music as well, ironically, but never cared for him as a person or an artist. And most of the people that followed him are children. They don't have the purchasing power to buy an album. Who do you know over the age of 20 that would wear Lil Pump merchandise or even go to a Lil Pump show? It's incredibly rare. They might listen to his music, but anything more? Very unlikely. So artists have been chasing the same formula Lil Pump did ever since. They act like absolute fools on Instagram or Twitter to grow their following, or just post stuff that they know people will share. People like Kid Boo, Young Bands, Lil Gnar, what's his name, Blueface recently, maybe some others that I can't recall off the top of my head right now, and they get surprised that when they release music either nobody listens or nobody cares. In your audience eyes, you're a clown. Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey. People don't want to hear your music. They want to see you do a trapeze act or walk across the wire. Maybe spit some fire and juggle a couple of bowling pins. This is why I love Denzel Curry's music video for Clout Cobain, because it represents this so perfectly. I mean, people are like, don't try giving us a thoughtful speech on stage. That's not what we're here for. There's a reason why people like Logic, who only has 6 million followers on Instagram, and people like Russ, who only has 2 million followers on Instagram, can make the Forbes list, sell way more albums, do massive tours that they're headlining, sell more merchandise with a fraction of the followers of people like Lil Pump and 6ix9ine. And it's because followers do not matter. All these artists that are focused on just growing the numbers instead of nurturing a fan base, you need to realize that method never worked and it never will. Artists that actually focus on building a real fan base, not just follower count, one that's there for their music and personality, relates to them, not laughs at them, will always have success and never go broke. I suggest you watch one of the playlists that'll be on the end screen if you enjoy this video. One is Influence on the Rap Game, where I dissect a bunch of rappers who have had influence and how. And the other is XXL, Where Are They Now, where we look at XXL's freshman list since 2007 to see if they're still here. And let me know why you think Lil Pump sold so little in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Thank you for watching. Peace.